Welcome to a wealth of useless knowledge, where we dive into some fun and entertaining topics. You're sure to learn something new here, and maybe even have a laugh or two. Now let's get into today's video. Have you ever been belting out your favorite song, overcome by emotion, and totally convinced that the artist poured their heart and soul into writing it themselves? As you may or may not know, some songs pass through the hands of several people in the music industry before they eventually make their way to the recording artist that ultimately makes it a hit. From the biggest chart-topping pop anthems down to heart-wrenching ballads, there are several songs you may be surprised to know were not written by the artist who sings them. I actually made a video previously about this topic and you guys really enjoyed it, and I got a lot of requests for part 2. So in this video, we'll be diving into some more songs you didn't know were written by other artists. So grab your headphones, your favorite snack, and stay tuned. First on the list is Irreplaceable by Beyonce. Beyonce's sassy vocals on the track made the song what we know it as today. But did you know this record was actually written by the singer-songwriter Ne-Yo? Yes, Ne-Yo, you guys. The song is one that most may know word for word and may even opt to sing it as a go-to karaoke song, but many may be wondering how the song came to be. In an interview with the radio station The New 97.7, Ne-Yo talks about one of his aunts and how one of her relationships inspired the record.
It's a true story. It's a story about I grew up in a house with my mother, my sister, my grandmother, and 5 aunts.
Oh, wow.
Till I was like 16.
Wow.
So I had that one particular aunt that she always had a new boyfriend. Like every couple months, it was a new dude coming through the house. Hey, little man, and touch my head. I don't even know you. It was that. So I remember the day that she broke up with this particular dude.
Right.
She bought him a little car and found out he was rolling around town in that car with somebody else.
What?
So I remember him coming to the house that day. He did a little head rub thing. I'm sitting trying to watch cartoons, one of these. And then I remember him in the back. He's like, hey, babe, where my leather jacket at? And she's like, oh yeah, to the left. Yeah, in that box to the left in the closet. Yeah, that's all your stuff right there.
I never knew that.
I remember sitting in the window, laughing at this dude as he walked out the house, talking about, you ain't gonna never find somebody treat you the way I treated you. You the one lost the neck. It's all right. It was one of those. So.
Although Beyonce ultimately ended up recording the track, Ne-Yo has stated many times before that he had actually written the song for himself from a man's perspective.
Beyonce's Irreplaceable. Funny fact about this song, it was not originally written for Beyonce. I originally wrote it for myself.
Not only did he pen the track, but he even recorded a demo for it.
Standing in the front yard telling me how I'm such a fool, talking about how I'll never find another girl like you. You got me twisted.
After demoing the track though, he quickly realized the song could come off as misogynistic when sung from a male perspective. Due to this, he sought out a female singer to record the record instead.
I could have another you in a minute. Matter of fact, she'll be here in a minute. Sounds kind of harsh and cold coming from me, right? But Beyonce says I can have another you in a minute. Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute. And every woman in the world was like, that's right, girl, we ain't gonna take it no more. You better tell him. Shout out to Beyonce.
Ne-Yo states the song was turned down by several women in the music industry before Beyonce heard the song, liked it, and decided to make it her own. The track was ultimately released as a single on her second studio album entitled B-Day, released back in 2006, and the rest is history. The record went #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, holding that position for 10 consecutive weeks, and became yet another iconic Beyonce hit. Next on the list is the song F You, better known by its more radio-friendly name, Forget You. This hit song is sung by CeeLo Green, but you may be surprised to know that it was actually co-written by Bruno Mars.
I recently did a song for CeeLo called F You. We had a session booked with him, and we started jamming, and that was the song we came up with.
Give us a burst.
I see you driving around town with the girl I love, and I'm like,
Some songwriting credits are also attributed to Brody Brown, as well as Mars's frequent collaborators Philip Lawrence and Ari Levine, who together are also known as the group The Smeezingtons. Not only did the group of collaborators co-write the song alongside CeeLo, but they also produced it. In an interview, CeeLo discusses how the track came to be and what the writing process was like working with Bruno.
This record, it does not stem from the storyline. The storyline is fictional. It's not really a whole truth. But I'm saying, like, at this point, I was ready to say, F you. All of y'all. Right? You know what I'm saying? So it kind of came from that. And when I met Bruno, I was introduced to him as a young, aspiring artist, singer, songwriter, producer extraordinaire, but a staff writer, at the time. So it was him and Phil Lawrence. Phil and Bruno kind of had the sketch of what the hook would be. So it went from, I see you cruising around town, I see you walking around town, it ended up being driving around town, but it was always F you. And so, so we kind of wrote this song just kind of thinking out loud, bouncing stuff off of each other. I'd say one line, I'm sorry, I can't buy a Ferrari. The first original line was, but now it's over and no longer are we, but it didn't have a ring. It feels like, what about, I guess he's an Xbox and I'm more Atari. I was like, oh. So that's kind of how we wrote it, just bouncing back and forth like that.
The track initially was one that was somewhat of a silly song that he assumed would be a throwaway record, but Green decided to give a big old middle finger to the music industry and released it anyway. And to his surprise, it ended up being a huge hit.
I did it to be ridiculous. I thought it was going to be ridiculous. I just wanted to be spiteful and hurtful and malicious. And ironically, it was the one that they loved. I was like, I can't believe it. I can't believe y'all love this.
The track debuted in the summer of 2010 as one of the lead singles from CeeLo's third studio album entitled The Lady Killer. The expletive-ridden song was a chart-topping hit, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 and even spawned tons of parodies on TV and online. The song was so popular, in fact, that it's still one of the singer's most highly recognizable tunes to this day. American Boy is a popular song sung by UK artist Estelle. The tune talks about her jet-setting across the US with her American love interest, who could take her to see both the East and the West Coast.
Take me on a trip, I'd like to go someday. You'll be my American boy.
Although the song is captured from the viewpoint of the UK artist, did you know the song was co-written by a group of American artists? That's right, folks. American Boy was written by singer-songwriter John Legend alongside Black Eyed Peas singer and producer will.i.am, and featured a memorable rap verse from the rapper Kanye West. The track was also produced by will.i.am and recorded over the instrumental of a previous song of his called Impatient, from his third studio album entitled Songs About Girls. The song featured a mix of R&B, disco, and funk sounds, and flaunted an upbeat tempo that was catchy and danceable, which contributed to its success as a single. When asked about how the song came to be, Estelle states that when she was in the studio, they were all joking around and brainstorming ideas for a new song, when John Legend suggested she write a song about meeting an American boy, which Estelle thought would be a good idea since she already had some male friends out in New York. In an interview with the BMI, How I Wrote That Song panel, will.i.am gives more insight into the songwriting process.
John was like, yo, I got this girl named Estelle. Can you get down on the project? I was like, sure. John always starts off the thing, take me on a trip, I like to go somewhere. And then that was it. So I was like, okay, well, then I wrote the second half. I really want to kick it with you. And then you'll be my American boy. And then the rest is history.
The fun and flirty track was ultimately released on her second studio album, Shine, back in 2008. It peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming a huge hit, winning her a Grammy the following year. Next on the list is Black Widow by Iggy Azalea featuring Rita Ora.
I'm gonna love you until you hate me. I loved you so much and now I just hate you. Feeling stupid for all the time that I gave you. Like a Black Widow, baby.
This song received quite a bit of radio play at its time of release and was one of the Aussie rapper's most memorable songs. But did you know the song was written by Katy Perry? The song also has writing attributions credited to producer and songwriter Benny Blanco, Sarah Hudson, and the production duo Stargate. The track was originally written for Katy's fourth studio album, Prism, but ultimately got left off the record. For some, it may be surprising that the track was penned by Katy, but it has often been compared to the song Dark Horse, which features both hip-hop and trap elements while flaunting a similar vibe sonically, which makes sense as to why it was being considered for the Prism album in the first place. Even though the record wasn't used by Katy, she later passed on the demo of the track to Iggy to complete. Iggy added her rap verses and was looking for someone to sing the chorus. It's said that Iggy had initially wanted Perry to sing the chorus on the track, but due to Perry's hectic schedule and time constraints, she was unable to hop on the song. Azalea knew she wanted a big voice on the song to take it to the next level though, and ultimately got her friend, the UK singer Rita Ora, to jump on the track. In a 2014 interview with Kiss FM UK, Ora expressed that she and Iggy had long wanted to collaborate on a song together, so coming in as a feature on the song just felt like the right choice.
I heard this song that she was doing, we have the same manager, and I heard it on her laptop, and I was like, what is that? And we wanted to work together for ages, didn't we? So yeah. That song for me was like, she said, Iggy, what do you think about Raiders singing, you know, The Widow? And I was like, yeah, of course, sounds great. Good idea. Cool. It just felt right. It felt like the song for us to sing.
This song about the conclusion of a toxic relationship juxtaposes the Black Widow spider, known for its deadly poison, with the images of the femme fatale characters. The track was released as a single from Iggy's 2014 debut studio album entitled The New Classic, and it peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The mix of Iggy's rap flow with Rita Ora's singing voice created a dynamic duo and a song that dominated radio for several months. Touch My Body is a record sung by Mariah Carey and quickly gained popularity due to Mariah's vocal performance paired with the comedic music video.
If it's a camera up in here, then I best like I just click on YouTube. Touch my body, put me on the floor, twist me around, play with me some more.
It also is the song that birthed the iconic line, "All up in my business like a Wendy interview."
'Cause baby, all up in my business like a Wendy interview. This is private.
If you've seen part 1 of this series, you may have noticed that The Dream was a major contributor to a lot of the hits we know and love today. And this song is no different, as the record was co-written by The Dream alongside his longtime collaborator Christopher "Tricky" Stewart. The song also features songwriting attributes from the singer-songwriter Crystal Johnson, better known by her stage name Crystal. In an interview, Mariah talks a bit about the songwriting process.
You delivered the single, the first single from the new CD. Yes. Now, this is it's very sexy, but kind of with a comedic twist.
Of course.
Right.
See, that's my whole thing. People think that, like, everything has got to be so serious and whatever, and then I take it so seriously. But we were just like, okay, we get it. Let's film it and have fun and put it out.
Jack was very, very funny.
Jack was hilarious, and I had to, when we were doing the takes at the front door,
it
was, like, so hard for me not to laugh because he was so funny.
So tell me about the single. What message is this? I mean, it's a very sexy song.
It's not a message. It's really just a have fun record. It's like, listen to it, enjoy it. It's cute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those songs that I think makes people feel like a little bit, you know, empowered and sexy.
How'd you think of the title?
You know what? It was just one of those things that happened in the studio.
Really? That's it?
Yeah.
It just like comes to you just like that?
Well, I was collaborating on that particular song with Tricky and Dream, and then I later wanted to work with my friend Crystal Johnson. She's really talented, and we already had the Touch My Body part. That was, I think Dream came up with that, and I was like, okay, how do I flip this? So I can say, because he was talking about a camera and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not going to talk about a camera like that. I'm like, if the camera is going to lead with me when I do.
Right.
Like, you know, it's kind of like taking control of the situation.
The song was recorded by Carey and was released as a lead single to her 11th studio album, E=MC² back in 2008. The sensual and flirty track featured elements of both R&B and pop alongside Carey's light and airy vocals. The record was well received by the public and became Carey's 18th song to hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The hit record not only made its way onto the charts, but also into many people's playlists. The song Beautiful by Christina Aguilera is an emotional ballad about discovering one's inner beauty and building self-esteem.
Don't look at me. I am beautiful, no matter
The song was delivered with such emotion by Christina, and her powerhouse vocals gave the song a depth to it that really moved people. So it may be surprising to know that she did not write this record. This song was entirely written and produced by singer-songwriter Linda Perry, who some may remember as the lead vocalist of the short-lived San Francisco rock band Four Non Blondes. The track was initially written with the intent of singing it herself, but she didn't resonate with the song enough to be able to sing it, as something felt amiss. It's been said that the song was sought after by the singers Pink and Christina, but Perry ultimately felt like the song would be best suited for Christina. In an interview with Broadcast Music Incorporated, Perry talks about how the song came to be and the moment she knew the song was meant for Christina.
Honestly, like anytime I write, I don't have a process, I don't have a thought, I don't have an agenda. My agenda really and my intention is strictly to create something. And whatever that is, I don't know. And so I'm playing the song and it's like, it gets to the chorus and it's like, I am beautiful. No, and then as soon as I heard myself say I am beautiful, I freaked out. It was like I took the foot off the pedal and I was like, what? I can't say that. I don't think that about myself. And then I just kept going with it and just like, well, this is obviously the song that wants to be written, so I thought I was writing a song about somebody else. And then the second chorus came in, I was like, you are beautiful. And then the third chorus came in, we are beautiful. And then the song kind of started making sense to me. When I wrote that, I didn't believe that it was mine, you know? So when Christina wanted it, I was like, okay, all right, she can sing it, she is beautiful. Right? This is my thought. And then she starts singing it, and then it hit me. This is not what the song's about. It's about someone who actually doesn't think they're beautiful, and they're trying to find power within themselves to change their whole outlook on life, and that's where the song came from. But it wasn't until this hot little Christina was singing the song did I realize, oh, she's fucked up too. She's insecure. She's just as dark as you are, Linda. Let her have it, you know?
Perry states that Christina wanted to re-record her vocals as she was not initially satisfied with the end result, but Perry declined as that goes against what the concept of the song was supposed to be. She wanted her to embrace the rawness of the vocals and the imperfections that come with people, so the version of the song we know and love today was actually the first take, with only some minor tweaks to some of the high notes.
And her vocal on that was her scratch vocal. That was her first take. That what you just heard was that was her singing the song for the very first time. And that at the beginning, I laid down the piano. She sits there, and her friend comes in, and the song starts, and she looks at her friend and she says, "Don't look at me." And I knew, I got shivers, and I knew this is her song.
The track was recorded and released by Aguilera as the second single from her fourth studio album entitled Stripped back in 2004, peaking at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, making it an instant hit. Speaking of a hit, if you're still here watching, hit the like button and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot.
I appreciate you.
Another song that was all over the radio when it came out was We Found Love by Rihanna featuring Scottish DJ, singer, songwriter, and producer Calvin Harris. Not only did the song just feature Calvin Harris, but he also single-handedly wrote and produced the song as well. It flaunted an up-tempo beat with dance pop and techno elements and was a track that came into fruition after he was on the European leg of the Bayesian Singers Loud Tour. In an interview with Fuse, Harris speaks on how the collaboration came about.
Rihanna thing was an accident. You know, they're all different how you meet people and they want to work. And I was touring with her. She was listening to the set I played before, and she said she wanted to do something that kind of sounded like what I was playing. So I was like, okay, sounds good, but easier said than done, right? Just writing a song for Rihanna, okay, I'll go and write you a song. So I was working on my album anyway, and just that song, We Found Love, I finished it, and I was looking for someone to sing on it. I wasn't shooting for someone as high and amazing as Rihanna, but she heard it and she wanted it, so that's how it happened.
This record about finding love despite the odds took over the airways for months as it received tons of radio play and became Rihanna's 11th song to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The track was recorded and released as a single from her 6th studio album Talk That Talk back in 2011, as well as on Calvin's 3rd studio album released in 2012 entitled 18 Months. And it's been known as one of the songs that took his career to the next level, making him one of the most sought-after music producers in the US and abroad. As in an interview with The Sun, Harris states, quote, "It changed absolutely everything. Career-wise, it was the best thing that could have ever happened." This next song had all the girlies flipping their hair and singing at the top of their lungs for months on end. That's right, you guys. I'm talking about Pretty Girl Rock. This track was recorded by singer-songwriter Carrie Hilson and was one of the lead singles from her 2nd studio album entitled No Boys Allowed, released through the label Interscope Records back in 2010. Despite the fact that the song was meant to be a women's empowerment anthem, you may be surprised to know that the track wasn't written by a woman at all. This record was actually written by singer-songwriter Ne-Yo, along with co-writing attributions from writer and producer Chuck Harmony. The mid-tempo R&B song also flaunts a notable sample from the popular Grover Washington Jr. and Bill Withers' 1981 record, Just the Two of Us. In an interview with Capital Extra, Ne-Yo talks about what originally inspired the record.
Carrie Hilson, Pretty Girl Rock. If you've ever seen Carrie Hilson before, she's mesmerizingly beautiful. Her eyes are ridiculous. Like a lot of girls must hate on her because she's so pretty. So I was like, yeah, let me. That's kind of where the inspiration for that song came from. Shout out to Carrie Hilson, by the way. I love you, Carrie. I love you, Carrie. I love you.
Ne-Yo expresses how the song was inspired naturally by the fact that Carrie is pretty. But beyond that, Carrie herself has expressed that it was meant to be a confidence booster for any woman singing it.
Pretty Girl Rock is all about confidence. You know, though one may hear conceit on the surface, if you are going beyond what you're hearing and you get to whatever it is you feel, I think that you'll feel confident. You know, I think that you'll immediately put your name into the sentence where I begin the song, my name is Carrie.
The song received tons of radio play and was an instant hit as it peaked at #4 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Songs chart and #24 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. The track also went certified platinum the following year and is still one of Hilson's most recognizable songs to this day. Burn is a catchy pop tune that many people have heard everywhere, from parties to on the radio to in the mall back in the late 2010s.
We don't have to worry about nothing. We got the fire, and we burning one hell of a something. We'll be raising our hands, shining up to the skies. We got the fire, and we're gonna let it burn, 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 burn. We're gonna let it burn, 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 burn.
The song about resilience and letting your inner fire burn features a catchy chorus and is sung by UK artist Ellie Goulding. It earned her first #1 single on the UK singles chart and became one of her most popular songs to date. But did you know the song was actually written by Ryan Tedder? Tedder is an American singer, songwriter, and producer, best known as being the lead vocalist of the pop rock band One Republic. He's also known for writing and co-writing on a myriad of songs, one such being the collab with singer-songwriter Jesse McCartney on Leona Lewis's hit record Bleeding Love. The track also contains some songwriting attributions from fellow One Republic bandmate Brent Kotzel. In an interview with Billboard, Tedder talks about how the song came to be, stating, quote, "I wrote it on a tour bus in Chicago, me and Brent. I was so ecstatic about the song that our show was probably delayed 5 minutes because I couldn't stop listening to it. Ellie cut the vocal, killed it. She didn't mess around." Tedder goes on to say that the song sat for about a year after that before finally getting into production. The song was later recorded by Golding, produced by Greg Kurstin, and was released as a single from her third studio album titled Halcyon Days back in 2013, which was a reissue of her second studio album Halcyon, released the year prior. The song's catchy chorus made it one people couldn't stop singing, and the positive reception ended up earning it the 13th spot on the Billboard Hot 100. Last on this list, but certainly not least, is the hit record Get the Party Started by Pink. Pink's edgy vocal style and attitude gave this song the wings it needed to soar to the charts, and her rendition of the song was so passion-filled you'd think she'd wrote it herself. But the record was actually written and produced by singer-songwriter Linda Perry. This sassy dance tune has become synonymous with the pop rock star's musical identity, so much so that many may be surprised to know the record was actually intended for Madonna. According to an article by BuzzFeed, the song was initially written with Madonna in mind, but she passed on it. It didn't sit on the shelf for very long though, as it's reported that about a week later, Linda got a call from Pink, who was asking for a track for her upcoming album. Since Perry had just written Get the Party Started, she decided to send it over to Pink to record. What would later end up being the iconic track was birthed when Perry decided she wanted to, quote, get hip and experiment with adding some new sounds to her production repertoire. In a BMI How I Wrote That Song interview panel, she speaks about how she went to Guitar Center to buy up a bunch of equipment to test out some new drum beats, and states it was kind of a joke at first, really. She was just having fun composing the beat while also throwing in every cliche line she could possibly think of when writing the lyrics.
I lived in like a very analog world. Everything was old school, everything was tape. That's what I like to work with. And here I am, you know, in the 2000 now, and I'm like, Linda, you need to get hip, you know, because you're in the 70s and 60s and it's 2000. So get out of your shit and get into what's going on today. So I called up a friend. I'm like, hey, dude, what's all the stuff that I hear on the radio? What's that sound? Is there a keyboard or something? He's like, oh yeah, you gotta get an MPC, you gotta get a Triton, you gotta get, you know, blah, 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 you know, bass, sub bass, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I go to Guitar Center, I buy all this shit, I put it all together, and this is a true story. I put it all together and I'm like, okay, let's see what this thing does. Boom, 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 tap, boom, boom. Oh, cool, all right, let that go for a while. That's just looping. I put all the beat together, I add some percussions, you know, put some real stuff in there. Guitar, you know, quack, quack, quack. I get my real guitar, get some wah-wah, and then the bass, boom, 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 boom. And I'm like laughing. I'm having a great time, and I'm like all this craziness, and then I'm like, okay, all right, now what am I going to, oh, let me get a bullet microphone. All right, I'm gonna think of every stupid thing I can come up with, every cliche, and then I ad-libbed the whole lyrical content and came up with this whole story about someone going on their way to a party, and it's not gonna start until I fucking get there. And so I literally write the whole song. It was a joke. And I call up my manager and I go, listen to this. And I hold up the phone and she's all, what's that? I go, I wrote a dance hit. I go, I can't sing it. And she's like, no, you can't. And I'm like, we gotta find someone who can.
The record was ultimately released back in 2001 as the lead single from Pink's second studio album entitled Misunderstood. And what started as just an experimental joke of a song ended up peaking at number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100. Not only that, but it's still one of Pink's most iconic songs to this date, as it's constantly played at most every party. When jamming out to the carefully crafted playlists that are the soundtracks of our lives, it can be hard to imagine anyone else singing the songs other than the artist they ultimately ended up with. But the journey a song embarks on and the avenues it goes through before it finds its forever home with a vocalist is truly fascinating. And there's tons more songs out there whose writers await to be uncovered. So if you'd like me to keep this series going and do a part 3, hit the like button and comment part 3 down below. But I really want to hear from you guys. Could you imagine any of these songs being sung by any other artist? And which was the most surprising to you in this list? If you enjoyed this video and want to see more music-related content, check out my Music Origins playlist, where I dive into some popular music samples and their origins. If you found this video educational or entertaining, it would be
Delightful. Really delightful.
if you would like, share, and hit that subscribe button for more content.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
As always, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, keep learning.